As I upload this video, the date is March 9th here in Australia and March 8th in the USA, about a month away from the total solar eclipse everyone in the Watchman world is talking about. In the Middle East, and specifically in Israel, it is about 2 days away from the new moon, which begins the month of Ramadan on the Islamic calendar. For Israel, their current situation in Gaza presents a huge dilemma, as they are poised to strike at the Rafah crossing to attempt to seal off Hamas from the outside world by cutting off their access to the tunnels that cross over into Egypt, by which they have been receiving all their smuggled military supplies. The dilemma is caused by two things: the pressure being applied to Israel by the current US administration to not carry out their final operation against Hamas, which in turn is caused by the prospect of an all-out war during Ramadan, not just in Gaza but in Lebanon, in Judea and Samaria, and even potentially at the border with Syria, if it came to that. Israel has issued an ultimatum to Hizbollah to retreat from the Israeli border within 7 days, back to the area they are supposed to be in according to the agreement that ended Israel's last Lebanon war, or face an all-out attack by Israel on Hizbollah. As you can see in the video, the lower part of the Aussie fig tree has sprouted a whole new branch which didn't exist before. As you can see, this lower part of the fig tree is better protected from possums than the upper part of the tree, as the wire cage only extends so far up the tree, and the possums have been able to climb up and chew on the leaves which are sticking out above the cage. But so far, the lower leaves have remained untouched. This is kind of like Israel's entry into Gaza, projecting an Israeli military presence into the southern part of Israel, which had been off-limits since Israel withdrew from Gaza in August 2005. Because of Israel's strong military, they were able to enter Gaza and remain relatively untouched, apart from the casualties caused by booby traps and the occasional skirmish with Hamas troops who emerged from the tunnels to attack them, which usually ended in a quick defeat thanks to Israel's air superiority and the ability to direct air-to-ground attacks on the Hamas forces in real time. What concerns me about this situation, though, is the suppressed frustration felt by the entire Muslim world, which could boil over during Ramadan in unexpected ways that could include intervention from the north. The Houthis could also ramp up their attacks on shipping in the Red Sea. They have already sunk one ship and damaged others, which is not a direct threat to Israel, but could increase the pressure from the international community, which could become even more determined to stop Israel from doing what it feels it needs to do to protect its citizens. What this is all leading to is the ultimate question of whether Israel can protect itself, or whether they will need to ultimately turn to God for their protection. If now is Israel's time for the tribulation, then the rapture has to happen first. This brings me to the total solar eclipse in America. As I have just discussed, America is now wavering in its support for Israel, and this could bring about the judgment symbolized by the solar eclipse on April 8th. As other Watchman channels have noted, the little abandoned township of Rapture in Indiana is right in the path of the solar eclipse as it moves across America. I have looked into the history of that area in Posey County, Indiana, and about 200 years ago, there was a Rapite or Harmonite religious community there in the town of Harmony, now called New Harmony. This community was founded by German immigrants led by a George Rapp, whose Harmony Society was founded in Germany in 1785. Rapp believed that Jesus would return in 1837, then when that date passed, he still believed the rapture would happen in his lifetime and continued to believe that even as he lay on his deathbed in 1847. The actual small community of Rapture was founded in 1838 by a John Cox, next to Cox's Creek, obviously named after him. Although I haven't seen this stated anywhere, I suspect the community at Rapture was founded by people waiting for the rapture. There is some story online about the town being named after a horse called Rapture, but I suspect both the horse and the town were named because of the rapture beliefs of John Cox and others in that community. Obviously, in hindsight we know that their timing was wrong, but it's intriguing to think that people have been watching and waiting for the rapture for so long, and now we are finally going to find out if the 6th millennium is going to end 7 years after the rapture, followed by the 7th millennium, which will be the kingdom of God. The Rock Island Books channel recently put out a video which states that 2031 will be a Jubilee year, and that Jesus rose from the dead on April 8, AD 30, which is a remarkable coincidence when you consider the date of the solar eclipse we are anticipating is also April 8. That date was also Nisan 17, the 17th day of the 7th month. I have been seeing 7:17 AM lot over the last few years, so that ties in well with this rapture date. Another coincidence I came across is that the path of totality for the eclipse on April 8 passes over Rapture, Indiana at around 3 p.m., exactly the same time that Jesus died on the cross, just after a period of 3 hours of darkness, possibly also caused by an eclipse, as we can see by reading Mark 15 verses 33 to 37. At noon, darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon. And at 3 in the afternoon Jesus cried out in a loud voice, Eloi, Eloi, lema sabachthani, which means, my God, why have you forsaken me? When some of those standing near heard this, they said, Listen, he's calling Elijah. Someone ran, filled a sponge with wine vinegar, put it on a staff, and offered it to Jesus to drink. Now leave him alone. Let's see if Elijah comes to take him down, he said. With a loud cry, Jesus breathed his last. Still, as I always say, any discussion of rapture dates is not prophecy and prediction, it is only speculation and may not come to pass. If the Lord doesn't tarry, see you on the other side.